Are you willing to spend exactly 29 years just to save enough money for a deposit on an apartment? That's not a psychological test, but the harsh reality of the London market in 2026, where mathematics has officially rejected home buyers. The time when British real estate was the golden goose is over for England. Just in 2025 alone, nearly 15% of home sellers in London had to reluctantly accept prices lower than what they originally paid. Even in ultra-luxury areas like Westminster, property values have evaporated by up to 27% in just 2 years. When a £2 million apartment can lose £680,000 in value in the blink of an eye, we can no longer call it a market adjustment. This is the beginning of a death spiral, where the dream of home ownership has turned into a financial trap that no one wants to step into. Let's delve deep into this crisis to understand how the game has been rigged and why people across England, from the working class to the middle class, are collectively choosing to. A house has never just been bricks stacked on top of each other. It is a financial fortress, a retirement insurance made of bricks and mortar, more solid than any ballot. For decades, the advice, buy a house at any cost, became a kind of faith in England. But let's look at the reality of 2025. According to the London Market Report, as many as 14.8% of home sellers had to accept a lower amount than what they invested. That means for every 7 people selling their homes, 1 will watch their asset evaporate before their eyes. This is not a cooling market. This is a financial crash on a generational scale. If you think upscale areas are safe, look at Westminster. Once considered the jewel of real estate, house prices there have dropped by 27% since 2023. Kensington and Chelsea are no better, with a 20% decline. For those who held on to property for a lifetime, watching its value drop by a quarter in just a few years feels like a cultural shock, like seeing a prized vintage asset suddenly become worthless. This decline is not just numbers on charts. It represents lost retirement plans, lost dreams, and lost legacies. In central London today, for every 2 houses for sale, 1 is priced lower than the same period last year. What was once considered the golden investment has become a risk that even bold investors hesitate to take. Buyers are now asking a simple question. Why risk everything on something that could be worth less tomorrow? When London falters, the entire belief system around property in England begins to shake. But if falling prices worry the wealthy, the situation for the working class is far worse. For them, home ownership isn't just risky, it's mathematically impossible. Estimates for 2026 show that a young person in London needs 29 years just to save for a deposit. If they start working at 22, they won't even reach that goal until 51, the age when most people start worrying about their health. In the past, this process took just 3 to 5 years. The house price-to-income ratio has now exceeded dangerous levels. With an average salary of £44,000, a person can borrow around £200,000, while the average apartment costs over £550,000. That leaves a gap of £350,000, a financial black hole no amount of saving can fix. This isn't about skipping coffee or cutting expenses. The system itself is broken. As a result, first-time buyers, the foundation of the market, are disappearing. And when the base collapses, the entire structure begins to fail. Even existing homeowners are trapped. They can't sell because buyers can't afford to buy. The bank of mum and dad has become essential, with parents injecting around £10 billion each year just to help their children enter the market. This has created a system where success depends less on effort and more on inheritance. Why is this happening? The answer lies in how the system is designed. Over the past 20 years, most property value growth hasn't come from better homes, it has come from inflated land prices. Developers hoard land instead of building on it, restricting supply to keep prices high. Meanwhile, the tax system often fails to penalize unused land, effectively rewarding hoarding. Banks prefer mortgage lending over funding businesses because property is safe collateral. This pushes more money into housing, driving prices even higher. Government schemes meant to help buyers often backfire, increasing demand and pushing prices up even further. The result is a system where taxpayer money indirectly supports high property prices, benefiting landowners and financial institutions. And now, a new player is taking over. As ordinary people exit the market, large corporations and investment funds are stepping in. They don't see homes as places to live. They see them as income-generating assets. This is leading to a future where most people rent permanently, while ownership is concentrated in the hands of a few powerful entities. At the same time, even those who own homes face hidden traps. The leasehold system means many homeowners don't actually own the land beneath their property. They are subject to rising service charges and limited rights. Service charges in London have risen dramatically in recent years, far outpacing inflation. The cladding crisis exposed another danger. Thousands of properties became unsellable overnight due to safety issues, leaving owners trapped with massive repair costs and no escape. These homes have become financial prisons. Because of all this, people are leaving London. Teachers, nurses, artists, the very people who keep the city alive, are moving away because they simply cannot afford to stay. Rent for a one-bedroom apartment can consume up to 70% of a nurse's salary. As a result, London is changing. It is becoming a city of empty luxury properties, owned by investors but lived in by few. Communities are disappearing, replaced by temporary residents and silent buildings. People are moving to cities like Manchester and Birmingham, or leaving the country altogether, searching for affordability and stability. This is not just a housing crisis. It is a social transformation. We are now heading toward a divided system. Those who inherit wealth and property. Those who own large portfolios as investments. And the majority, who are permanently renting or trapped in debt. The future of housing in England depends on whether the system changes, through reforms, taxation, or structural shifts. But one thing is already clear: younger generations are opting out. And when a system loses its participants, it must either change or collapse. The question is, what comes next? Will housing return to being a basic human need, or remain a financial asset controlled by a few? The answer will define the future of an entire nation.